In my discussions about health, I talk a lot about the input, the type of foods that promote health and well-being. But what about the output? What about supporting the healthy elimination of waste from our bodies? That's going to be the topic today. For those of you meeting me for the first time, I am Dr. Amina Goodwin, a physician and health coach. So we're going to dive right into it. Keep this video short and sweet. Elimination of waste from our bodies. Now, there are three main ways in which waste is eliminated from our bodies. One of the obvious ones is via our intestines. So we eat our food and the nutrients that our body needs are extracted. Sometimes we eat food and it may be contaminated with different things, but our bodies are designed in a way that it is able to extract what it needs and then get rid of things that it does not really need, including potential toxins. But if those toxins are kept within the intestines for longer than is optimal, they may cause problems because they may end up having prolonged contact with the intestinal lining, and over time there may be irritation with that intestinal lining and maybe even some amount of absorption of some of these toxins. So how do we prevent these toxins, irritants, waste products from staying in our bodies and wreaking havoc? Well, two main ways. One, probably the biggest way, is to incorporate a lot of fiber in our food, because what the fiber does is that, yes, it helps to trap some of these toxins, it traps the waste product, but also the presence of fiber helps to more quickly propel all this waste through the intestine so that it gets eliminated. Now, constipation is a big problem in this day and age. There are a variety of reasons. Probably the most important is the same absence of fiber. But another a big contributor to constipation is a lot of medications. There are a lot of medications that cause constipation, have constipation as a side effect. Opiates are a common one, but there's several other medications as well that essentially slow down the muscle activity, the peristalsis of the intestines, so that the things just don't get eliminated quickly enough. So fiber is one way to increase the bulk of the stool so that you can have propulsion through the intestines more quickly. Constipation, sometimes you might not, for some people who might be eliminating daily, they might not quite realize that there could potentially be a problem because they're going every day. But usually for normal stools, you should be going very easily, and it should not just be hard, dry pebbles. It should be a pretty good volume of stool every day, pain-free, effortlessly. In addition to fiber, another thing that helps with elimination via the intestines is enough water. If you're not drinking enough water, I mean, yes, a lot of the water does get absorbed from the upper intestines, stomach, small intestines, but if you are maintaining a good bit of water so that your body's hydrated, some of this water is able to remain in the gastrointestinal tract and help with bulking and easy elimination of the stool from the intestines. Another thing that could potentially help with healthy elimination in the intestines through the gut is a healthy microbiome. And the microbiome, which most of you probably have heard of, is that group of bacteria in the intestines, bacteria, even parasites, viruses. We have trillions of microorganisms in our intestines that actually help us to be healthy. But the healthy type of microbiome, healthy type of bacteria is a wider variety rather than just, relatively small amounts of species. So that wider variety is promoted by having a wider variety of food in our diet, specifically plant-based food. So you want to look for a wide variety of colors and types of different plants, because those different nutrients from the plants will feed different types of bacteria, different types of microorganisms, and what is fed gets promoted. What is not fed eventually dies off. So if you're feeding bad types of bacteria with sugar and preservatives and other additives, those are the ones that will proliferate and crowd out the good types that really don't have any food because they're not getting enough nutrients, phytonutrients from plant-based foods. So having a wide variety of vegetables and plant-based foods not only provides you with good fiber to bulk up the stools, but it also provides good nutrients for the good bacteria that help with healthy elimination, and also further helping with digestion of some of the foods that you eat. Okay, so that is how you promote healthy elimination from the intestines. Now, another way the body eliminates waste is via the urine. Okay, so the urinary tract, the urinary system, so waste that's dissolved into the blood. The intestines would eliminate that solid waste that never really got absorbed into the body. But waste that gets dissolved into the blood, so the cells, they go through their different chemical reactions, and as a byproduct of chemical reactions would be some waste. That waste that is soluble dissolves into the bloodstream, and the blood filters through the kidneys, where the waste that is to be eliminated gets passed through and eventually goes into the urine and in the bladder, and whatever is needed, whatever minerals would remain in the blood. Now, if you are dehydrated, if you're not having enough water, it means that you're not going to have efficient filtration through the kidneys so that all this waste gets passed out. So consuming enough water is one of the ways, well, it's the main way really, where you're going to help the kidneys to go through with eliminating the waste, the soluble waste. Imagine if you're not drinking enough water, it means that you have very concentrated urine now forming in the kidneys. If you happen to be a diabetic, you would also have some sugar, some glucose in the kidneys, and because it's in a concentrated form, it is more likely to do some damage to the kidney cells compared to if the urine was very dilute, and so it was a very mild amount of glucose that is less likely to do damage. Additionally, other things there, uric acid crystals, oxalate, all these compounds that if the urine is very concentrated because you don't have enough water passing through, then these things will essentially coalesce and form stones. And once you have stones now, these stones cannot, in some cases, depending on if they're allowed to grow, because the dehydrated state of your body continues day after day, month after month, year after year, to the point where these stones can actually grow and clump in the kidneys, and that prolonged contact with these stones and the kidneys can cause irritation and ultimately damage, including cancer, by the way. So another reason to increase your water intake, not just for the intestines, but for the urinary system, so that the kidneys can efficiently filter out the waste and have it excreted rather than remaining stagnant, really causing some stagnation there with all that concentrated urine, with all that toxic waste staying in contact with your urinary system, your kidneys, and the rest of the urinary system for prolonged periods of time, including the bladder, by the way, because this concentrated urine, your bladder is not being filled quickly, and you have this very concentrated urine with all this toxic waste staying in contact with your bladder wall for hours because you're not flushing out quickly enough. You're not filling the bladder with water. So drink a lot of water so that you enable your urinary system to work efficiently to flush out those soluble toxins from your bloodstream. And then the third main way in which we eliminate waste from our body is the volatile waste, specifically carbonic acid. So we exhale carbon dioxide, and so the excess acid, hydrogen acid that's produced in our bodies gets breathed out in the form of carbonic acid. We measure CO2 levels when we check people's blood, and sometimes people are not breathing out this carbon dioxide efficiently, and so acid levels build up in their bloodstreams. Their bloodstream can become a bit on the acidic side. So conditions where you have problems with elimination of the volatile waste would be sleep apnea. That's like a big one, where because of the weight and squeezing and so on the airways during sleep, the airways squeezed and eventually closes off and you stop breathing. And during the period of time when you stop breathing, the carbon dioxide is building up in your bloodstream. Your blood is becoming acidic. And then once the brain signals that, oh, there's acid, you get a trigger to wake up and you can start breathing and blowing off that extra acid from your body. So for that type of elimination, if you are prone to sleep apnea, if you happen to be overweight, you need to consider the possibility that you might need a sleep study. And if you do get a sleep study and it definitely shows you have sleep apnea, you need to either go very aggressive with trying to lose weight, but in the interim, you might need a device, a CPAP machine, to help force that air out of your lungs, out of your body, get that acid out of your body by helping you to breathe during sleep so that you don't have a buildup of acid and a buildup of basically waste in your body. So those are the three main ways of elimination, and I explained to you what you can do to promote healthy elimination of waste by those three modalities. Hope you all found this video helpful, and if you did, well, you can feel free to give it a thumbs up. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.